Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, a number of events have happened. We had Deku and the group. Now, the group has been going through quite a few things, and they have done one thing. They decided to take a bit of a day off. After Izuku handed over supplies to another group, he went home. And everyone, they officially had enough supplies to survive the winter. They could have warm meals every day for the next 2 months on the stuff they got. And that is if they decide to splurge on it. I mean, it's not that bad. They've got a decent amount of stuff, and it's nice. They have plenty of wood to have fires. And everyone, whenever they decided to have a campfire outside, Bucko had a lot going through his mind. Everybody here perceives Deku as the leader of the group. Izuku takes initiative and is willing to kill for his friends. But there's also that thing about that. Friends. Izuku views everybody as a friend, an ally of his. He has a girlfriend and a best friend, Setsuna. And Bakugo, whenever he talked about how he should be the leader, he even called Deku out on his relationship. Yeah, Izuku is dating Ochako. The two have been together for months. But does Ochako know about what happened? He flat out said it to her face. And Deku punched him across that face whenever he said that him and Setsuna hooked up at the base. Because this is not what happened. Deku and Bakugo got into a fight. The two went tumbling and fighting. Deku gained the upper hand and called out Bakugo on everything, talking about how he should drop his ego and stop pretending like he's better. Because he isn't. He's quirkless in this world too. And that, yeah, that shit means everything. Use your ability, go ahead. He'll just put him down. And that, it annoyed Bakugo. Deku has points, but even he has his own good points. Izuku, he's just not in the right mind. And this, yeah, I meant quite a bit. Deku went to go talk to Ochako, and the two, they spent the night together. And the next morning, Mei Hatsume showed off her crossbow to him. And that, yeah, it does mean quite a lot. Deku has no tool to play with. Along with that, he has a few things to get ready for whenever winter does come to an end. And speaking of that, 2 weeks have passed by. And Japan, it slowly but steadily began to heat up. Deku and his group have begun talking with other people and trying to understand what to do. Places to go to and ways to remake their maps to incorporate trade routes they may know about now. I mean, they already have ideas as to where other people are, where other groups are. And this, it does mean quite a bit. It's good that they have access to this information. They know whether or not some people may be hostile and know whether or not some may not be. I mean, get the name of a group and have it. Ask about it, and if this person isn't with any of them, then they could be an enemy. If they're not an enemy, they might be a crazy. But then again, crazies might either try to throw abilities at you or try to hurt you. So there is definitely that. Now, as I did say before, 2 weeks have passed, and the snow has begun to thaw. And currently, we do cut to a vehicle, where Deku, he does sit in the passenger seat. Him, right now, with a crossbow and his ammo. Him still looking at it and going over everything. He's got a few bolts. He's got a lot of things too. He's got his zombie knife, the one made from the armor. Along with that, he's even got gauntlets on his arms made from the Relentless. Or, well, the Jaguar? Yeah, Jaguar is probably a better name for that thing. Its talons are sharp and good. but so is its body armor. If you hollow it out a bit, it can definitely fit. Though, slice it in two and just put something on the inside, it makes the armor a bit more easier fitting. It's not tight, and along with that, you can actually move your arm properly. It doesn't feel like it's just stuck to you. And Izuku, he does have two of these on his arms. Right now, him covering his right forearms and his left forearms, along with even something on the inside of his jacket to protect his organs. And currently, he does get a turn to the driver, Momo, expressing about it. She's not too sure about this. It still seems like a bad idea. I know. But listen, if it is a bad idea, we'll turn back before anything happens. This is technically going to be the furthest we've ever hit into the city. We still have snowfall, and, well, we still went by that store. The deceiver's dead, and I think Setsuna is handling everything there. You sure? Bako expressing. He's pretty sure she's handling that. Besides, Nejire's got it too. She likes to go out. And Deku would turn looking back at Bakugo. Jiro in the back seat with him. The two glaring at each other as Momo does a turn. Right now her turning up to the volume to the radio. And the CD inside would go to play. Currently it playing one of Jiro's favorite songs that she found at an electronic store. And this, it does not make her turn her head and look out the window. A lock passing through her own head. The vehicle going to pull in an alleyway later and into a stop. Momo getting out and talking about it. Right. So how are they going to be handling this? Deku loading the crossbow and holding it up. Currently, him holding it by the strap and walking over. Looking out of the alleyway and into the street. Turning his head and not really seeing anything. So this already isn't a good sign. The area is empty. It's still cold. Though, he doesn't see his breath. It is a bit warmer today. Snow is still melting, but heat does rise. No. It's not that he can't see his breath. He's trying to pay attention too much. No. He's him turning his head and seeing All Might. All Might turning and pointing to a direction. And Deku, he does start him a bit confused. Because that direction isn't... Izuku. Deku turning his head. And currently Momo does stand there. Currently her in a jacket and with some of the same gauntlets on her arms. Trying to ask him about what's going on. It's nothing. Just got a lot in my mind. You and me both. Jiro turning to Bakugo. And Bakugo, he has a bit of a sour expression on his face. They're heading to a safe zone. Heading to a place where people may not even be. I mean, last anybody heard, this place was active before winter. And winter went on for, what, 3 months? Yeah. If this is going to be anything, it's going to be either bad or okay. It's not going to be good. So, what they're expecting, is it going to be a bloodbath or a hive? So, it's definitely something. Her turning, bring her hand up on Bakugo's shoulder. And Bakugo, he does also turn his head. Her going to somewhat give him a bit of a somber smile. And Bakugo, he would have hold up a bow and arrow, talking about it. He just he has to know. He's gonna look around for a lot of information there. Though, if they do find a encampment of people, how are they gonna handle this? Talk to them, see what's going on. I mean, if they're still a massive safe zone, they might have, you know, military ties. And Izuku, he would have turned. Right now, him telling Bakugo. He knows how to handle it. Besides, he doesn't want to say it to his face, but he'll say it now. Now that they're out of the car and they can split up. He doesn't know if they survived. He's done the safe zone is active. Of course you would be. Thought you were an optimist. Not anymore. Deku fully turning, telling Bakugo they have to keep the possibility open. Getting their hopes up isn't good. Remember what happened last time we got his hopes up? And Bakugo looks at Deku. Him gonna turn, telling Momo that he's gonna go this way. I mean, they'll take point and head in first. They wait 10 minutes, and then come in after them. If it doesn't look good, then radio in. One beep, in case they see anything. A group or infected. Just something. And Jiro, she doesn't understand. Deku turning and walking away. And Momo would have turned to Jiro, nodding her head as she would respond. Her gonna run off to join Izuku. And currently she's a turn, walking the other way down the alleyway. Make sure they have cover on both sides. That way, they are not surprised. Then, head the same direction as the safe zone. It should give them ample opportunity to see anything, look at anything. In this, it does mean quite a bit. And currently, Deku, he does just stand there. They walk down the road, and they follow the directions they were given. Just keep going until you see the largest possible thing there is there. And Izuku looks up. It's huge. A massive building. Deku looking up and staring at the stadium. It once held thousands of people. It was turned into a shelter, and from what they can tell of it, it still stands. I mean, him turning his head and seeing an area that is partially collapsed, and that it does give Deku a bit of a cause for concern. They're not too sure how stable the area might be. The earthquakes in the area could have made it worse. They've experienced it before. The ground will shake, and that is only more evidence of the hive. The first time around, it seemed like a coincidence, but then it happened again. It happened again too. Last week there was a shaking in the ground, and it was concerning them. It didn't seem to feel right. They had time to prepare. They were far enough away, and as far as he's aware, there wasn't a tsunami. But other groups felt that as well. They got worried. And Izuku, he can understand. Currently, him, going to try and make his way through the military barricades, through some of the things they have set up. Him and Momo following the paths that have been outlined, along with even seeing some of the signs that are still hanging there, still tied up, and some of the areas that have been partially destroyed. There looks like there may have been a riot here. Things are tossed over, and areas are burned and don't seem right. And currently him and Momo due to walk up to a gate. Izuku bringing his hand up and going to pull the piece out of the ground and move it forwards. Him trying to be careful, but it doesn't make a squeaking sound. The two heading in. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently, Jiro sitting there at a window and looking at the stadium, seeing where Deku and Momo headed in, and they're going to turn to Bakugo. Her asking him exactly what his beef is with Izuku. Her turning back. And Bakugo, he does to express a few things. The two going over that little shit list of his that doesn't seem too important. And we do currently cut back to Deku and Momo. The two, they walked in. They were trying to be careful. There wasn't really a lot of light in some areas, and making their way through it needed to have some caution. They were able to go towards the light, follow a path, and find outside. And whenever they saw the field, it was just alarming. Looking down on it, tents, improvised housing, and barricades in the stands. There are tents everywhere. And then there's down the field. There's a flag. There's vehicles. There's got to be supplies. There must have been hundreds of people here. And Deku, he does stare down at the field, seeing something bizarre in the distance. And it's... what is that thing? Momo, do you see that? What the hell? I do. That's weird. Is it a sinkhole? I don't know, but clearly it's something. What do you mean? I'm just saying, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. It's just, it looks like a sinkhole. I can't tell from here though. It's small though. Should we be careful? We should. But you know what to do if in case you see anybody, right? Yeah. Though, think there might be deceivers here? We can't take that chance. Besides, we also have to be careful of those other things. If there's one around, it's gonna cause a lot of concern. But you get the basic idea. Stay quiet and throw a noisemaker. Right, I got it. Her bring her hand up and giving Deku a thumbs up. The two making their way down and onto the field. And Izuku, he does have a few things passing through his head. The skills he's learned and how he survived. Running into a safe zone is one of the things people did in the first month. Broadcasts are still up. Places to head to and areas to go to. Some radio stations have stopped playing. But I mean, that was only obvious. But at the same time, what happened whenever things are at capacity? What happened whenever there was no more people they could take in? How long did supplies last? And if this place was still up from before winter, if it lasted that long, where the hell is everybody? And this, it is a major question. Currently, Izuku walking the fields and bringing up his weapon. Currently, him taking the zombie knife and bringing it up. Him stabbing into an infected's head as he has a turn. Currently, him staring at another infected, it shambling towards him. Deku bringing his hand down and grabbing at his knife. Right now him bringing up one of his other throwing knives and going to turn, chucking it at the zombie's face and watching it fly through the air, smashing into its face and killing it. It's gonna fall forwards and smashing onto the ground. And Deku, he does somewhat think about how that was a good shot. Though at the same time, he should probably be a bit more concerning. Careful. As far as he can tell though, right now, they're only seeing standards. There's none of these special infected. none of the ones that are dangerous. Though, they can't be too much. Well, no. They can't just let their guards down so much. And this, it does go through his mind. Currently, Deku trying to make his way into the tent and seeing a zombie. It currently going to lay there and trying to get back up. It is injured, and this is a good sign. Deku bringing up the crossbow and firing at the spider. It trying to use two of its massive limbs to move forwards. And Izuku, when he's to put the bolt directly through its head, it's gonna fall forwards. Him walking over and gonna stare on. Currently, its limbs gonna move backwards and gonna break, making a bit of an unnatural sound. And this does alarm him. Him bringing his hand down and grabbing the bolt, pulling it open, and then gonna turn, looking at the area. Okay, so there's a okay. Him walking over to a chest, seeing the keyhole, and going to turn to the locks. Right now, him going to unlatch the locks and open it up. However, the moment he starts to push on the top of it, it doesn't open. And Deku, he assumed as much. Him going to pull something out. As he does try to use the little kit Mei has come up with. And we do actually have Momo. It's jarring. They got lucky. She got lucky. She knows what happened to her family. She knows everything. What happened at her manor? What they found? It was bad. Some people gave up. Some didn't. Some were infected. There was a lot of cleaning to do. She found her father and her mother. Both. Mom and dad, I guess. But I mean, was it really that lucky? Finding them locked in a study? Her dad put a gun to his head and killed himself. Her mother, she lasted what? Another day or so, maybe 2, maybe 3? She doesn't know. Her mother was next to her dad. She had a knife, and she just fell asleep. It seems a little peaceful. Just drifting off to sleep and probably knowing that you'll never wake up again. She hopes that that's how she went out. Just a little bit more peaceful than putting a piece of cold steel to your head and knowing what's going to happen next. Making a larger mess in the room. It's not something she often thinks about. She tries not to think about it. These people were less fortunate. They've heard a lot of rumors. Cannibals, psychos, crazies, whatever you want to call them. These people are insane. They can do things. They're worse than the actual monsters they face. And that's saying quite a bit. Though some of these monsters, she's heard a bit about them. She's faced them and tried coming out here herself. And that does mean quite a lot. Momo walking into a tent and turning. There being a dead man laying there in a military uniform. And Momo, she does a turn looking around the room. Her walk over to the tent and opening the flap. Turning her head and not seeing anything. Walking back over and going to carefully bend down, so as to not slip in the melting snow. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently, her bring her hand down onto the man's vest. Okay, so her pulling out a note, staring at it and going to start read it. And it's personal. Her folding it back up, and putting it back into the man's pocket before going to actually turn, grabbing his weapon and holding it up. Okay, so no, this is, let's see, her checking around. She takes the man's ammo. She takes his gun, his knife, and a grenade off of his belt. There's also his bag. I mean, it's light. And after opening it up, it's just not worth it. Haru's gonna set it back down, turning and going to leave the room. And there is actually Izuku, who does gonna pop open that chest and look down. Okay, so here's some ammo. There's some clothes in here. I'm holding them up. And the uniform, it's military. He doesn't know what though. There's also some cargo pants in here, so just toss them over his shoulder. And then there's, him holding up some ID. In it, it shows a doctor. It shows a woman. It's not the one that was after him, but it's somebody who should be stationed here. Somebody who could have helped people. He wonders how far she got. If she's still around. Alive? Huh. Yasuko. No. Probably not. Him having his hand brushed on a notebook when he's gonna set it back down. Turning and gonna actually pick it up. Him gonna pull it open and see records. Right now it talking about it. Day 30. So far things have not been very good. Information is still coming in about quite a lot. However, she is cataloging this for reasons. She has noticed that among the general populace, there is concern about people with certain abilities. Her having it marked in quotations. Mutants. With a bit of a question mark. People who have not yet shown signs of infection, but have been discriminated against because other mutant types were the ones who primarily went crazy. She has looked into it in the last oncoming days. Data and going over extensive records. There were a number of things that happened. It is said that mutants were the ones who overpowered my lady. And whenever she fell in combat, she made quite the uproar. I mean, evidence still is lacking in support, but there were a number of people involved in that. It's believed that even All Might may have had his own fill. Though, she does express her own thoughts on this. She does not believe that mutants are the origin of this infection. Or virus? Further research data needs to be looked into. However, nothing is known yet. When more information has come in, she'll catalog more. But for right now, I'm going to close it. And going to just turn, putting it into his bag. He doesn't have time to read this. As interesting as that was getting. Him looking back down. And there's more. I'm going to turn. Pulling up something in a bag. Him pulling it open and not really seeing much. The only real thing here is... oh yeah. Nice. Him gonna take the candy bar and set it back down. Currently the bag being put back in the chest as Deku, he does so slowly close it. I'm gonna turn and reload his bow and get back up. And currently there is outside. Jiro, she was still talking with Bakugo. And Bakugo, he headed in. She has watch right now. But this does give her not a lot. Okay, so Bakugo's heading in and she's got a vantage point. If something does go wrong, they'll tell her. They will. So, let's see. She's got to do a few things. Figure this all out and understand how things are there. Currently, Geo turning and looking away. However, she does a turn back. Her seeing something and being a bit confused. Her bring up her radio and turning down the volume, pressing the button and talking about it. She thinks that she saw movement. Her whispering it into her radio. And currently everybody's does gonna go off. It with that small little beep followed by her voice. And this, it does mean quite a bit. Currently, Deku going to walk through the area and then gonna lower himself down, bring his hand under his radio and talking about it. He found a few good things. Though, what did you see? I don't know. Be careful though. You guys find anything good though? Like, what do you have? So far, I've gotten some stuff, information, but I don't know what it's about. I can go over it more later, but it looks important. It might tell us about what happened here. Bucko, I'm sorry. I don't think your dad's here. Him going, just sit there. Bring the radio up, talking about it. He's got it. And there actually is Momo, who does go to radio it. She's pretty sure there's somebody here. What do you mean? I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure there's somebody here. Her going to fall silent. And Deku, here's a beep the radio. Right now, Momo beeping it twice and showing she's still okay. And right now, Deku does understand. She fell silent for a reason. Him putting the radio back to his waist and turning back, remaining low and trying not to slip on the ice. Them making their way through. And Izuku, here's a turn. Him bring his hand up and try to be careful. Right now, going to look past the tent and seeing other infected. But then he does see somebody walk by. Deku a lot more alarmed because that girl moved fast. Currently the zombie turning his head and going to try and follow. And Izuku, he has to walk out. Currently him having his feet crunch on the snow a little bit harder. And he would go to walk over, bring his hand up and stabbing his knife in the back of the zombie's head. Him lowering it down, gonna turn, bringing his hands up and grabbing the zombie by its shirt and stabbing the knife upwards into its neck. Him lowering them down and going to turn back. Seeing as the person, they're still moving, currently leading away from Izuku. And this does mean quite a bit. Deku trying to think about where he might be. Okay, so the sinkhole should be over there. But why is she heading towards it? Him beginning to give a bit of chase. There's a chance that she's infected. Maybe a crazy. Maybe there's something going on here. Okay. Take the chance or not. No, Izuku. That's a kid, right? Him going to follow. And they're actually the kid, they just don't stop. Them turning their head and staring directly at Izuku. And Deku, he does stare at them. Alarmed. A girl with yellow hair. It's cut short. And the clothes she's wearing. Her shoes aren't made for the environment. She's wearing torn up clothes. And her shirt, it's wet and covered in blood. And currently the girl just walks towards Izuku. And Deku stares at her. Concerned. Worried? She's cold. But then something feels off. The girl staring at Deku. And Izuku, he does his stare at that. Him going to bring his hand up and stepping forwards. Her holding up her right hand, and Deku, he does see it. Those hands aren't human. And Deku stares at that. Him backing away, realizing what the hell this creature's doing. It's not human. It's not fucking human. And Deku, the moment he has to move backwards and away from it, it doesn't have its mouth open. Right now, it gonna scream as its jaws apart, and currently tendrils do gonna shoot out of its mouth. Currently, Deku screaming out as this thing's yell can be heard. And the moment it is heard, Momo does a turn. Her running that direction as Bako will gonna do the same. And there actually is Zuko. He turned and ran. Right now, one of those tendrils trying to slash at him as he brought his hand up and it wrapped around his armor. Him bringing his knife and slashing through the tongue. Currently, it going to cut away and bleed. It going to stand there. And this creature, it does do one thing. It does go to elongate. Right now, tendrils shooting out of its back and picking it up off the ground. And Deku, he has a turn, running off as it is a give chase and scream out. And this is where Bakugo and Momo do get to see it. Currently, this thing towering above one of the tents and up high. Right now, it landing on the tent and smashing into it. It gonna fall over as the creature. It does try to fight through the cloth, getting back up. And there is Izuku, who does go to get a good distance away, turning back and bring up the weapon. The creature currently stumbling out and into the open. It turning to look around and staring at Deku. Its entire face this time going to pour it open and reveal rows of teeth, along with an eyeball in the center of the face staring at him. And Deku, here's how to watch it. Currently being lifted up in the air by the tendrils and flying towards him, trying to move fast. And Izuku, he has to bring up the weapon. Him going to bring it up to where he thinks the brain is and firing it. The thing flying through the air and smashing the creature's head. Right now it going to fall forwards into the snow and smashing onto the ground. And Deku, he has to stare at that. One of the tendrils going just somewhat try and move around. Izuku quickly getting to his feet and running over. And trying to inspect this thing to see if it's actually dead. And that, it's strange. Deku bringing his hand up and stabbing his knife down into the back of the head, just for good measure. Him going to bring his hand down and flip it over, its face attempting to try and close. And this, it does worry Deku. Getting a better look at it, in the snow. I mean, this thing looked human. Uncanny human. The snow was bright, but getting a better look. This thing is wearing clothes. How does it know how to do this? And Izuku, he doesn't hear a sound. Currently, him jumping up and turning. Right now, trying to look around. And this is where Deku does a turn seeing Momo. Her rounding a corner and bringing her hand up. Her holding her hand up to her lips. And there actually is Bakugo. Bakugo does stand there in a bit of trouble. And currently there is where a jaguar, it does go to walk right past him. Its tail up and it's sniffing the air. It heard that sound. It smelled the blood. And it came from that hole in the ground. It's hungry. And it wants food. And Izuku, he does stand there. As Momo, when she came running around, that thing heard it. And she took the risk. Currently, Deku understanding and looking down at the ground. Him going to quickly back up and move away. Momo bring her hand down to her belt and grabbing a sound grenade. Her going to bring it up and stare at it for a second. Before, she's a turn looking at Deku. And Izuku, He does go to nod his head, and she does do one thing. She turns it on and turns, tossing it as far as she can. Currently, gonna wait. And Bakugo, while this thing was walking past him, he heard that massive sound. So gonna turn himself and gonna get ready. He had the idea to attack that thing. Though if it is truly bulletproof, he can't. He didn't carry a sound grenade. There was only supposed to be one per group. Fuck, Jiro still has his. And he does a just turn. The moment it does go to run off in the direction of the sound grenade, he has a bolt off, trying to wait as much as he can for this thing to get distance. And there actually is nearby the entrance. The three meet up, them running out as Izuku hears a turn, hearing something following them in the darkness. And this, it does cause him to worry. There being nothing, him turning back and going to run off. And there is Jiro. The moment she saw these three get out and Deku trying to cover them, she knew something was up. She got really worried. And currently, they do get a run down the road. Getting back to the vehicle, as Deku, he does have a lot going through his head. Him silencing the driver's seat and holding onto some information. And the group, they do begin to move. Going to drive to the city and to the area they know is a bit more populated. And Deku, he does a stare on. Him bringing up his radio and setting it to a channel. Him beeping once and going to wait. Getting no response. 1, 2, 3, 4. Him counting to 20. And then changing to another channel and beeping it again. And going to wait. And Izuku, he is trying to find it. It does take 2 more tries. But on the 5th attempt where he does it to beat the radio station, or at least the radio of somebody, they do to beep back. And Izuku, he does try to talk about it, explaining who he is and what they're doing on this frequency. They're the new guys, and they were hoping to talk to anybody around here. I mean, they want to introduce themselves, talk to them, and see if they might have a common interest. And people, they do understand. Currently, Momo being given some directions and going to understand them. And Deku, him and his group do to pull up to a location. The gates being opened up and the 4 greeted inside. And Deku, he does get stared on at this school, or whatever this place is supposed to be. Asylum? Institution? Right. Okay, so this looks good. Can I ask why you're here? So I'm gonna walk up. And Deku turns his head to see somebody. Then I'm gonna express. If they're here about trading, then today's not really a good day. Listen, they're not going to lie. They should probably go. In fact, they weren't supposed to even be given the order to stay here. Order. I'm going to step forwards and trying to ask them exactly what are they talking about with orders. Listen, we have people coming by today. They're military, okay? Some of the guys who are trying to muscle in on us. It's better if you're not here when they show up, especially if a weapon like that. Where did you get that? The person's staring on. And they do look at all of their weapons, in fact. Some of them are definitely impressive. And there's even, well, a knife. No, wait. The armor they're wearing, too. Is that one of those monsters they've heard about? It concerned. And the person would ask if he's Izuku Midoriya, the leader of a new group that has popped up in the trade community. I am. Listen, what do you mean it's a bad day? I'm just saying, you must leave. Listen, kid, I can understand the way you think, alright? I was a teenager once too. But you really should have been made aware. Made aware of what? You gotta go. If those people find out that you're here and they don't know anything about you, if they see new faces and we haven't told them what's going on, it's gonna be concerning. Okay, we'll hide our equipment. Just, we have to bring the car around then. No, if it's in our garage, it'll cause more problems. Just park it down the block. There's an abandoned building there. We've stored some of the stuff that we can there. Just knock on the wall and they'll let you in. 3 times. Alright? Also, asparagus. What's asparagus? It's a long word. Those things that make the voice noise, or no, the way they can change their voice. They can pronounce a lot of words. Though long words like anti-disabilitarianism, they can't say that without breaking their voice. Really? I wouldn't have thought about that. Yeah. Instead, we just use things they don't know. Um, Words they haven't heard. People around here don't really get fresh food, so, you know, lemon, mango, apricot's a pretty good one. Or just something that is long. Just say that. Okay? Just 3 taps and a word. One that's like food. Alright? It should work. The person a little, well, scared. And Izuku can tell. Him gonna turn and talking about what's going on. He's gonna stay here for a minute. They should go hide the car and come back. He wants to see these people. He wants to get a good look at them. Find out what they're about. And the group, they do understand. As Bakugo, he doesn't budge. Him standing there and looking at Deku. Izuku turning his head and telling Bakugo if they have a problem, not leaving. Okay, you're fine. Though, give the bag to Jiro. Jiro gonna turn. Bakugo handing over the bag as he would tell her. She forgot to hand him the damn noisemaker. Shit. I thought you had one in your bag. No, I didn't. I said I got one. Yeah, you did. But you're talking about mine. Yeah, we had one. You just said I. No, I didn't. I said we. No, you didn't. Deku telling them. He said I. Now, if they're done bickering, just go. And Jiro will get a turn. Deku telling her to come back and be safe. Right now, they've got to look at this. And having other people look might help. Bakugo expressing. If they get a chance to, they should take care of him. And Deku, he'll get to stare at the person. Them alarmed seeing Bakugo say that. And Deku would express. He's right. So what do we do? What do we do? Come on. You're the grandiose leader, right? Find a way to kill these guys. I've got so much faith in you. Izuku turning to Bakugo and telling him, they don't have time for this bullshit. Stop it. Listen, they can have this argument later, but he wants to get a good look at these guys. They can agree on that, right? These people need help, and this is their chance to do some good. And Bakugo, he does hear that. Good. It means a bit. Izuku, he does get to stand there. Currently, him, with his knife hidden on the inside of his pants. Deku, he just swapped his belt, put it on backwards, and was able to put the holster inside. And Bakugo, he didn't do anything. All he really did was take off his jacket and try to act a bit more casual. Rough up his hair a bit and wait. And Izuku, he tried to talk to this person about what they could do, trying to figure this all out. And when the girls arrived, they all had to continue waiting. The person made things clear. While Baku was walking around looking at a bit of things, trying to figure out what they could do, what they could use, Deku was trying to make a plan, using what they already have. They have pistols, knives, and they have a good weapon. The military, yeah, they're definitely something. Though, their own people, they do find some good stuff. They find ammo and weapons. In the military, it's kind of hard to hide a weapon. But hiding the ammo, that's a different story. They're crafty. And these guys, yeah, they don't really seem to like that. And currently on the roof, they do sit there. Them with a slam fire rifle. And it's simple. Bako came up to try and find a vantage point, a place to look down. And there was already somebody waiting. They have a gun and they're on the roof. A rifle that's made of simple parts, along with some wood for a stock. And, well, a nail glued to the end of. What did that used to be? Part of a tin can? Whatever it is. I mean, it's reinforced with the wood, but still. I'm trying to ask the person what the hell they're doing up here. And they would try to express to him their job. And there is currently Deku. Deku, he does hear about that. And he even would try to talk about it. Their people could make better weapons. In fact, given enough time, they could make them some proper rifles. Or even just give them some of the supplies they have, if they're willing to trade. Though, they are curious about talking with the people from the outer country. What do you mean? You know, the guys who actually sell milk? You're talking about the guys at the farm. Yeah, yeah. Do you know where they are? No, sadly not. Though, I can understand why you want that. Yeah, they can sell cheeses and stuff like that. They can also make butter. I know that's a big thing I've heard about. Yeah, got some of the old world skills, I guess you'd call it. Though, they do sell their stuff for some good stuff. Well, they sell the supplies they make with. It's a whole thing. Usually they trade with food. That's their main thing. What do you got to offer? We have a pretty good craftsman. You also have another good craftsman. Or craftswoman, I guess. Not the point. It's we have two people who are really good at building shit. They built my crossbow, they built my armor, and they've helped us stay alive. That thing you saw my friend's waist earlier, it's a grenade that can produce sound. We've used them before for a lot. Though I just, sorry. A zombie earlier. It's still in my head. Listen, the safe zone not too far away from here, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Spread the word if you can. But these guys, where are they going to come by? the person trying to tell Izuku. In about an hour or so, and we do actually have about 30 minutes later, these guys like to show up early, and they like to do so at any point. Sometimes to fuck with them, they'll show up late, or show up in the morning at the butt crack of dawn. Though, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Currently, a man getting out of his vehicle and going to walk over. Him smashing into the gate and yelling. And currently, there is where somebody is going to walk over. Them running over and going to unlock the gate, pulling it open. And the person going to step forwards, yelling about how they should have already had the gate ready. Besides, when they show up, it's time to open doors. And at least pay their fair share. So what do they got? Any of them sick? Because they're here with some medicine, in case anyone needs it. And this, it does mean quite a bit. The man standing there, as there is where the leader of this group does come walking out, trying to express about what exactly has been going on. They haven't been able to find much, but they found enough. And Deku, he does stand there as one of the random people in the background watching the deal go down. And the man, he does look into the crowd. Him staring at a few people. And it's usually just the same typical trash. There's not a lot of people here. Though, that kid looks like he has an attitude. I'm just gonna stand there. And Deku, he does stare on. And there is where he does see somebody walk through that gate. Somebody Izuku he doesn't like. They might not be the doctor, but they are somebody he sure as shit recognizes. And that does mean quite a bit. Currently, Deku turning his head away and looking mad. And there actually is Jiro, who would have noticed this. Deku has the same look on his face he had where Bakugo, he called out him. And this isn't too good. Jiro, bring her hand up and onto Deku's shoulder. And Deku, he just stared at her for a second. Him still with rage on his face. And Jiro, she's concerned. Deku's not lashing out. He's not angry. He's not gritting his teeth. He just stands there, rage lit in his eyes, calm as a feather. And this, it scares her. Honest to God, it's terrifying. Currently, Deku going to turn. And the moment Jiro does see him bring his hand up, he does go to tell her he needs her beanie. Her a bit more surprised. And Deku, he's to bring his hand up, telling her, grabbing it off of her head, and putting it on his own, turning back. That guy knows him. Him turning back. As people, they are beginning to sort of disperse. There's not really a big crowd. Then again, those guys, they are going to be a problem. The one guy he knows, he's seen before. If he recognizes him, there could be a problem. He worked with that fucking doctor. He knows where she is. If he's alive, she's alive. And if she's alive, she's still hurting a lot of fucking people. And that, it does make Deku mad. Currently, Momo asking Deku what's going on. And Izuku, he would have turned, him looking pissed off. And that, it doesn't look like a good thing. Him talking about it. About how the guy right there holding the knife was with the doctor that took him. The one that was involved with him and Setsuna. Seriously? Yeah. I have an idea. Though, are you guys up for killing them? Killing them? Yeah. They're threatening this group. Besides, Deku turning his head. Right now watching the man step forwards and punch the leader directly in the gut. The man falling to the ground and smashing down. As there actually is the military guy. He does look on. There are people trying to walk away, not get involved. And then he's a turn. Seeing a group of teenagers must be new arrivals. Though, something's wrong. Him staring at the kids. There's the girl with purple hair, the kid in the beanie, the, well, other girl with dark hair, and then there's the guy with the yellow hair. Blonde? Whatever. Something's off about that group. No. He's probably seen them here before. But something is up. Something is up. What's on his mind? Him looking directly at Deku. And Deku, he's staring right at him. And the man, he stares back at Deku, trying to understand what's wrong. There's a lot going through his own mind. What they do, what they're doing right now, they can muscle in on these guys. No big deal. Not a lot that can happen, and if there is anything that does go wrong, they can handle it. Though, he does want to get back to base. He's got a bottle waiting for him, along with one of those cute girls there. Yeah. Sneak her a little bit of extra supplies. And hey, him and her get along just fine. They get along very fine. I mean, hey, she gets what she wants, he gets what he wants. It's a fair deal. I mean, yeah, he probably shouldn't be stealing extra supplies. But then again, they don't really hand him out too good, especially to some other groups. And the man, he stares at Deku. Before there is where the man is a turn, somewhat smashing the man on the shoulder, talking about how he needs to stay focused. What is it? We're going to be getting extra supplies, especially today. And they're actually Suzuku, who would go to bring his hand down. Currently, him grabbing his gun on his waist and turning to everybody, telling them about what to do. And this, it is somewhat surprising. Now, there is one of the military people due to turn seeing Deku. Right now, him, presumably, grabbing for something. And the man, he has a turn, walking over, asking the boy if he's hiding something. And everyone, they do turn their attention to the situation. The man on the rooftop with the homemade rifle staring down. And he does do one thing. He currently will go to put a bullet directly into the piece and then go to get things ready. Him holding it up and going to get ready. Since the simple motion of cocking it like a shotgun is the only thing he would need to set this thing off. All you have to do is just slam it fast and hard. And make sure to keep himself steady. That's all he'd need. And this, it does mean quite a bit. The man walking over and standing directly in front of Deku, asking him exactly if he's trying to hide anything. I mean, hey, if he's got a handgun, go ahead, hand it over. Besides, their little group of misfits, they live in the city for a reason. They help them out. They give them supplies, and they give them protection. They do a lot for each other. It's the best that they can do. Besides, they've already given them some power. And Deku stares at that a bit confused, turning his head. And the man can see it. And the moment that is going to pass through his mind, Deku, he has to do one thing. He brings up his right hand. Right now him holding up a handgun and talking about it. Okay, fine. He thought about turning it in. But Deku bringing his hand down. Talking about how he does have something else to give him. Him going to actually turn and look away. Before grabbing one of his throwing knives and going to bring it up. Slashing the man across the throat as he would actually grab onto the man. Him bringing his weapon up and stepping forwards, smashing down the hammer and pulling the trigger. Now, Deku, he does go to fire the weapon. Currently, everyone watching on, as the man's blood does not fly onto Deku, and he doesn't fire the gun. Currently, him hitting one of the men as there is or one of them due to a turn. Currently, them grabbing their weapon and going to turn, holding it to Deku, firing out towards him. And Izuku, he does going to stand there holding on to this man's corpse as his body armor does take the blow. Izuku holding him up as there actually is Bakugo, who immediately turned and ran. Now, the group, they're going to try and pull their weapons. And there's the man on the roof. The moment a man pulled his weapon, he turned to him, aiming and slamming the gun together. Currently, it firing the rifle and it flying through the air, smashing to his head. And Izuku, he does still stand there, holding the man up and firing the weapon. And Bakugo, he's going to fire as well, hitting one of these men in the leg as they pulled their handgun. And Deku, he just dropped the man forwards. One of the last man staying there, as Jiro and Momo, they both pulled their weapons, holding him at gunpoint, and telling him about what to do. Him holding up his weapon and turning to his friend on the ground dead, turning his head and looking up to see what's going on. And there actually is the last man standing. Or, I'm sorry, the last two men who are here. The guy Deku knows, and the guy Deku doesn't. And Izuku, he has a step forwards. Him bringing his hand up and pulling off his beanie. Him turning away and tossing it over to Jiro. Or now her turning her head and going to bring her hand up, trying to catch it. Her going to do so and hold on to it. As Deku will going to turn back, the man more alarmed seeing Izuku, and his face does show fear. And the man turns looking at his ally, the little weasel next to him. He looks scared, and that does mean quite a bit. Deku stepping forwards, and looking at the man. Right now this being where one of the men do a turn, rushing him, and Deku would immediately turn, bringing the handgun up and smashing down the hammer, or pulling the trigger and shooting the man directly in the throat. Right now him going to actually bring his hands up and so fall backwards. Right now him holding onto his throat and trying to breathe, catch his breath. However, his mouth is beginning to fill with blood, and Deku will watch the man go to turn and smash onto the ground. This guy staying there, as Deku, he does go to pull back the hammer on his gun again, telling the man, he's lucky, isn't he? You're alive. Doctor thought you were dead. So she is alive. I never said that. I'm just saying she thought you died. Kid, you are one tough son of a bitch. Yeah, I got that part. Now, the man is staring at Deku. Currently, the group of people who live here staring on. And there actually is the man that Bakugo hit. He does gonna lay there, and he will gonna stare on. Currently, him going to try and move. Right now, him bring up his weapon as Deku will gonna turn. Him holding down the gun and moving away from the man, firing down to hit the man and killing him. Before gonna look back at this guy, him pulling back the hammer and telling him about how this isn't gonna be so easy. He's gonna ask a few questions, though he doesn't need him to move. They're gonna move down with the gun and pull the trigger, and the gun clicks. And this, it does make the man laugh. Him gonna actually turn and bring up his weapon, and Deku gonna rush him. One of the men holding out the gun and trying to swing it towards Izuku. Deku bringing his hand up and smacking it away before gonna bring his hand up, punching the man across the face. And Deku, he's now tumbling onto the ground with this man. Currently, the guy bringing his hands up and trying to attack Deku, but Deku immediately grabs down at his throat and brings his head up, smashing him into the ground. And everyone, they do watch on. Currently, Deku holding the man down as the guy starts to bring his hand up. Him trying to grab at Deku's throat, and Deku, he does bring his hand down. Right now, him going to bring his hand away and grab at this man's arm. Him going to just begin to put down force, grabbing at his thumb and pulling it. The man trying to scream out as Deku, he does smash him across the face. And the guy, he doesn't lay there. Deku going to actually get back to his feet. And the guy does he lay there with a concussion and breathing hard. Izuku going to turn and talking about it. For looking back down at the man. Him bring his hand down and grabbing at his belt. Him going to unbuckle it and rip it off. Him going to hold it up and talk about it. These are the guys that give them all trouble? These guys are all pushovers. They're bullies. They did quite a bit. They're here to help. And these men here, they push them around and take their shit? Come on. Stand up. Make sure they know exactly who they're dealing with. He has a plan to deal with this man personally. If any of their people were taken by them, they need to know. They're probably not alive. These men tortured and beat him for a month straight, along with another friend of his. He's dealt with them before. I'm gonna look back, and the guy, he's trying to bring his leg up, trying to swing at Deku. And Deku, he is going to step backwards and away. The man gonna sit up and gonna turn. Him looking around and still trying to catch his breath. Seeing the gun lying down, and begin to try and move over for it. Izuku going to watch him scurry over as he does take a few steps. Him going to have the man bring his hand down onto it as Deku just step onto his fist. Right now him smashing his foot down as the man, he does because there's someone sit there. And Deku, he would bring his foot backwards, kicking the man across the face. Currently, blood flying from his mouth, as Deku, he does enjoy this a little bit. Him bending down and bringing his hand up, grabbing him by the face, and going to tell him. They're going to make things quite simple. He's going to tell him where the doctor is, and in return, he won't make him lunch for a zombie. If he thought the deceiver was bad, he's got a zombie to show him. One he'll definitely hate. Besides, it's gonna fuck with him pretty damn bad. He knows it fucked with him. Though, he is curious. Where's the doctor now? If he tells him, he won't cut off his hands. And the man just gonna stare on. And people, they see Deku whispering to the sky. And there actually is Bakugo, Momo, and Jiro. The three are kind of alarmed. Bakugo, he knew from the moment Deku smiled, things were not going to end very well. Though, this is not good. After hearing that that guy hurt Izuku, he was involved in that? Yeah. He can't really say this guy deserves his sympathy. Though Deku, he's taking his time with this. And that he can't enjoy. That he doesn't condone. And Deku, he will gonna hold up the belts. Currently, him bring his hand down and grabbing onto the handcuffs, pulling them out and tossing them down to the man, telling him to put them on, and then get ready. They'll take him as a prisoner. If he comes willingly, well, he won't get beat. Besides, he'll save that for a little later. Though, if he does want to try and fight, I'm going to turn. Right now, him smashing Deku in the leg, and Deku, he's going to bring his hand down. Right now, him smash him across the face as he's lay there on the ground. Currently, Deku watching blood pour from his mouth as he's lay there on the ground. And Izuku, he's going to move his foot, bending down and grabbing onto the gun. Him holding it up and staring at it. Before he would, he's going to turn, tucking it into his waistband, walking over to one of the other military people. Him bending down and grabbing their handgun, holding it up and turning to the man who does get back to his feet, the leader of this group. Izuku going to walk over, holding up the gun and going to flip it in his hand, handing it over to the man, telling him, they're here to help. They're allies. Sorry that got a little messy. Though, if their people have been taken, have they been taken? They pick off a few people, yeah. Oh, is what you're saying true? Him holding up his left hand and talking about how the crazy bitch took his finger, and if she wanted to, she would have left him lying in a bed, missing a few limbs. He's sorry to tell him. If anyone he knows personally was taken, they've probably been killed. And the man, he does have tears forming in his eyes, looking down. A bit more, well, alarmed. And Deku would return, expressing to everybody here, they can take care of this. He knows a way to dispose of these vehicles, along with these men. Though he's going to be sorry to leave them with cleaning duty. No. We can take care of that. There's a tunnel not too far away. If we just drop their vehicles there, leave a note in the car, and maybe at least do something, we can make it look good. Make it look like they were ambushed or infected. Or ambushed by infected, or just, you know what I mean. I am sorry. No. Some of us needed to hear that. They've been picking us off, slowly but steadily. We don't know what they do. We know another group, threatened by these men, threatened by them. We'll relay the messages. Let them know what you told us. Though, I'm not sure anyone will really be happy with the news. It's not good. I know. But you're saying that you can handle this? Yeah, we can. If we need to, we can take what we can, strip the vehicles of their armor, or, well, if you want to take them, you can. We only need one. Make it look good or bad. I mean, these guys are scum. If one vehicle is messed up or destroyed or have been attacked with these men inside, the other two can go missing and, well, it can look like a desertion tactic. Whatever you can. Whatever we can do. We'll do that. Just, we'll get out of your hair. But if you ever do need weapons, we're willing to give you some. I'd even say, give you a bit of a discount for overlooking this. We can give you guys spears. How about bows and arrows? Yeah, those are simpler to make. Though, I guess teaching you how to make some of the arrows will be better. If you can get the resources, we can melt them down and, or, well, we can charge you for that, I guess, but we'll figure out the whole thing. We'll talk. Alright? Understood. Though, what about your prisoner? They're going to turn. The man going to express about how he's curious as to what Izuku might have planned for this man. And Deku, he would have turned back, not saying a word. And this does sort of tell him quite a bit of information. That man is not a good person. And he is able to understand what comes around does go around. Karma, it's one hell of a bitch. Now, with that being said, Deku, he does want to walk over. Currently, this man being tied up and bound. And then being tossed into one of the Humvees. And Izuku, he does get into the driver's seat. Him with a lot in his mind. I mean, this is going to be a bit different. Though, driving stick. No. He's going to suck at this. Okay, so let's just go through this. Okay, so this is... No, he's pretty sure that that's first. Him going to bring his hand down. Right now, him going to look at it. And there is what the passenger door is going to open. Jiro going to hop in and turning. looking down and seeing that Izuku has it in reverse. And she was going to make the correction. Deku, looking down, as she was going to try and tell him, okay, so here's what's going on. Her trying to explain it, and even trying to show Deku how to do this. And Deku, he doesn't understand. Her going to express, she can help him out. I mean, she looked at the other Humvee and saw that it was stick shift. He doesn't know how to drive, does he? Never got my license. I meant stick. No. So I have it in first then, right? You do? Though you gotta be careful. You don't want to pop the clutch. Right, right. Deku going to bring his feet onto the pedals, turning on the car and going to get ready. And currently, the two do begin to drive. And there is in the car in front Bakugo and Momo. They do gonna sit there, driving slowly and trying to keep pace with their allies. And Bakugo watches in the rearview mirror as Deku makes an ass of himself trying to drive a Humvee. Though, it does have him concerned. They're taking prisoners now, and this certainly can't be good. That group is gonna do what they can with the Humvee, and this, it just doesn't sit right with him. Where the hell, what the hell are they gonna do? What is he gonna do? No, no. His dad's a tough son of a bitch. Stubborn. It's one of the reasons my mom liked him. He's still gotta be out there. He's still gotta be alive. He just has to have hope. It passing through Bakugo's mind. As right now they do get to head back to base. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoy. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.